If you want to know the weather coming up, you've got options. You can launch the app on your phone, you can stick your head out the window and see what's what, or you can inspect the shape of a persimmon seed. What? Here's a scientist at the Missouri Botanical Garden who is about to tell you she studies persimmons.
I study persimmons, specifically our native persimmon that grows here in Missouri.
Now, if you're a Yankee like me, perhaps you've never enjoyed a persimmon. You're used to other foods native to the north, like squash, clam chowder, and bacon, egg, and cheese on a bagel. SouthernLiving.com asks and answers the questions, what are persimmons and what do they taste like, in an act of charming SEO hospitality. They say they're uniquely sweet, plump, squishy fruits that come into season during the late fall and winter, and they're highly underrated as a snack or salad topping, or apparently a meteorologist.
There's this great folklore about persimmons, which is that if you cut into one of these seeds, it will help you predict what the coming winter will be like.
Yeah, so this persimmon science expert says that if the seed of a persimmon resembles a specific type of cutlery, that portends the type of weather coming up in the winter.
You look at the shape of it, and it can look either like a knife, a spoon, or a fork.
The scientist knifed a seed.
It is very clearly a spoon shape.
And then found the same shape in a bunch of other ones.
The spoon, you might, it's kind of obvious, is like a shovel. So they say if you see a spoon, it'll be a snowy winter. If you see a knife, it's supposed to represent cutting winds and cold. And if it's a fork, it's supposed to be kind of bountiful, so maybe a warmer winter that's more pleasant.
If this kind of sounds like what happens on Groundhog Day, but instead of looking for its shadow, we sawed the creature in half, you're right. Like the scientist said before, this is folklore. Agriculture.com lists persimmon prognosticating as one of the top 12 old wives' tales to predict winter weather. Even our friends at the Old Farmer's Almanac go into great detail about how to peer into the future using seeds. This is the part where I have to point out there are two Farmer's Almanacs. There's the Farmer's Almanac and the Old Farmer's Almanac. The old one is older, but they're both very old, and they're both almanacs. Almanacs were real popular in the early days of our country. Even Ben Franklin had an almanac under the name Poor Richard's Almanac, even though his name was Ben Franklin. And the almanacs contained about a year's worth of household hints, amusements, and long-range weather predictions, like it's going to be hot in the summer. And experts and studies have found that these almanacs' almanaccuracy are about as good as a coin flip. And when it comes to persimmon seeds, the Old Farmer's Almanac itself notes, predicting with a persimmon seed is a fun, unscientific way to come up with a winter forecast. So before you drop $2 grand on this beautiful Canada Goose jacket, maybe you should stop by the fruit stand.